I think we can start. Just to check, is everybody hearing us? Can you leave a message in the chat? Perfect, perfect. So, it's great to see so many familiar names, a new one, not only familiar names. Now, reflecting on our last gathering in September, it's clear that we've grown and we did a lot. And as Benjamin mentioned in one of his tweets, we are going to make those sessions a bi-monthly event. So just as a heads up, you should mark your calendars for the next one, which is going to happen at the end of January. Now, recapping what happened since we last met, we've witnessed some remarkable events, and one of them is, of course, X-Day. So we had those interesting keynotes and panels, and as you all may know, we brought together more than 2,200 participants from around the globe. Now, I'm curious, what was some of your key takeaways from this event? So feel free to share it in the chat as we go along. Then we had the X-Day Hackathon, which was this, I don't know, melting pot of ideas. We had more than 1,000 participants and more than 140 projects, out of which only 70 were eligible for attachment. So it's incredible to see so many people participating, so much diversity and innovation in the community of developers. The prize distribution is underway, so keep an eye on your email accounts for those who won. And in December, we are going to also announce the great prize winner, the X Launchpad slot winner. In the meantime, we've also kicked off the hub initiatives. We started with a very nice event in Seoul. About those hubs, I would say that they are planned globally. They have to be considered like hacker house events. So they are going to be places for coding challenges and very insightful discussions, panels, keynotes, and so on. You should stay tuned for the 2024 agenda because we are going to publish it soon. And on this agenda, we are also going to have the meetups. Probably you have seen the meetups being announced on Twitter. We've seen a lot of excitement around them. So I think it's a must to cover also this subject. When thinking about meetups, you have to think that they are not just community events, but also opportunities for us to announce new features, new initiatives, like the one which we are announcing now, Ambassadors Program. So the first meetup was in Bucharest. It was a success. We expected around 80 participants, and we had more than 150. We expect the same to happen for the one which is going to happen in 2 days in Cluj, and the next ones which are going to be announced. Given the fact that we introduced the Ambassador Program, this is the opportunity for us to host them, but afterwards, we are going to support our ambassadors to host these events worldwide, which means that it may happen that several meetups will take place in the same month. About around those initiatives, we're also gearing up for the next big hackathon in early 2024. As we already started, and probably you have been in contact with Raul. Your suggestions and feedback are invaluable for the hackathon event. So please type in the form and let us know. We always appreciate constructive feedbacks. How about today's session? We have with us Iulian Pașcălău, core developer from protocol team. We have Robert Sasu, core developer and lead engineer for Vim and contract development initiatives. We have Andrei Marinica, smart contract framework core developer. We have Constantin, who is our web lead. We have Andrei Băncioiu, our SDK lead engineer, and a few other colleagues. There is also Adrian Dobriță, but he is a little ill, so probably he will not join us on the stage. So as already described in the short notice of the session, we are going through all the areas, discuss a few short things about what happened until now and which are the future plans. This is also in regards to the feedback that we received on the form that was distributed a few days ago. So the feedback was that community said they want Q&A sessions plus short updates on each area. That's what we are going to do. That's why I would say probably we should start with Iulian, and he will update us on the latest protocol developments. Iulian?
I think I can start. So as I talk with you about a little bit about the protocol status, the protocol update status, and our last etap, we managed to main pages. So the B1514 and the B1515 that wrote a little bit of stability, some fixes, especially the notorious that will cause the nodes on SHA-2 to be stuck at the change. And of course, these are preliminary for the release candidate PQ1, so that will be released pretty soon. The release plan here is for the seniors, which in the 1.6 version of the node, we'll have a little bit of features inside it. As can be soon, I don't know if the presentation can be slow, but we have a lot of optimizations and fixes. So just a few to remind you about the consensus signature checks, the resolving factor, the multi-key feature. The multi-key feature is very awaited for the validator community, and we also did some refactoring. You had already handled fixes, the governance 3, which is a on-chain governance system, will be finally released and activated. The DNS2 will be available also. A lot of improvements. So we will bring the EMP1.5, the smart contract processor V2, and the WAS, the new WASR. I think Robert will talk a little bit about this topic. We've managed to actually rebuild the full archive of some system. With the community, there were a lot of pains, especially when you look to see the node from the Genesis start. The system did not work properly, so we've refactored it and it will be available soon on the testnet. From our initial testing, we are confident that this approach will work. So we will have also something that you might be interested in, such as the VM query block coordination. So you can execute a VM query, add a specific block. If the node still has a state, there will be some logs and events changes. So you might want to we'll learn more about this topic. We've changed a little bit to align the new events. There will be things, the tracing optimization, sharper persistent feature. Some transaction execution algorithm effective, other changes and improvements. There is a ton of it. You can actually see them all inside the specs repository. We have there the series complete is request, including merges. This was used in the off-chain, not off-chain, but the governance process that it's still open. Yeah, for the Vega, the V1.7 version of the node, we are planning the staking phase 4, and under Mega, the V1.8 version of the node will be the consensus changes, transaction finality improvements, sovereign chains like mine. We might do another intermediate release that will contain two cool features such as batch transactions and the ESP's V2. We will how we will pack that and to bring them as soon as possible for the for the chain. So right now the work in progress is actually making sure the serious feature will work as expected, and we are testing it heavily where we found some issues. We even broke the testnet, the public testnet. Last week, you might have read the message on the Telegram channel, and we now brought it back, but we will make an upgrade, hopefully tonight. We are working actually on sovereign chain for several months. Not ready, but we are starting to have its feature complete. We are working on shadow fork, the finality optimization, and more changes later that will be available as soon as it will be ready. So I think that's about it for the protocol updates. And now I leave the mic my colleague Robert. Thank you.
Hello everyone. So in the going on what Julian was saying, we will have the serious release, and in this there are two aspects which developers should take aspect on. Some things which are, let's say, not backward compatible. It brings some new things. Actually, there are three if you build microservice as well. So the log events will change for the multi-ESDT NFT transfer, and this is needed in order to introduce more information in the log events and to have as form of log events all the inter-smart contract executions, and everything is going on between contracts without the need of doing anything more. Then we introduced the new asynchronous V2, which let's say you can put as many asynchronous calls as you want, but in a horizontal or just one level. So parent smart contract can do asynchronous calls to child smart contract, but the child smart contract is not supposed to do any more async calls. If the child smart contract will do an asynchronous call, it will result in the failure of the child smart contract, and the failure will be sent back to the parent. The third thing is we want upgrades and to happen in a much safer way. So from series 1.6, you will be obliged to have an init function when you deploy a new smart contract, and you will be obliged to have an upgrade function when you make an upgrade to the smart contract. This also means that there will be no more confusion on the init. So in case of upgrade, the init function will not be called, but only the upgrade will be called, and it is obliged to have an upgrade function to use this. This prevents developers to have errors or to put errors. And as this release comes, you can test everything out on the public testnet. There was a new release after we found some small issues in the with the previous testnet. So please test out all your applications and all your smart contracts on the public testnet, and because that's where you can see whether they will work on the new mainnet as well, and hopefully everything will work. There are a lot of other upgrades on the VM, a set of new functions like managed maps, which are integrated in the Rust framework. You will be able to use those in your new contract, or the bank transfer functionality, which actually eases the development on top of other DeFi contracts. You can simply build and compose contracts on top of the other without actually needing to know what the returns of those contracts are, because you can just simply get all the ESDT transfers that contract made to you, and then evaluate based on that whether you want to continue the processing or not. So this helps all the routers or all those who build on top of routers, farms, metastaking, and everything around that. You can see a few examples how do we use them in the Exchange Tools GitHub repository, in the composable smart contracts, or in the new, the composable smart contracts. You will see a few examples out there. I think this is it for the 1.6 release, and then later on we can discuss about what we imagine for next releases on VM, sovereign shards, and ESDTs. And I think the next one should be Andrei mentioned. If you have any question, drop down in the chat as we go on, and some of us will try to answer it. And whether questions will remain, we will respond it in the end.
Hello everyone, and thank you, Robert. Well, let's see what happened. Let's see shortly what happened after the X day and in the last couple of weeks in regards with the network interaction SDKs. And then as we speak, we will also mention some upcoming things and changes. Let's start with MXPy. We've released V9 a couple of days ago, and this new version installs Rust. The Rust installation flow is now changed. Rust is now installed system-wide, if missing. It's not installed in that folder vendor Rust anymore. And why have we done this? Well, in the past, there was the recurrent issue that developers were having sometimes multiple installations of Rust, and that led to several somehow hard to debug issues. And this new release of MXPy should resolve this. When you install Rust, it's now installed system-wide, and when you build contracts using MXPy, well, it will use a system-wide installation. Another change is that the contract, the command that allows you to create a new contract based on a template now relies on SC Meta, which is the new tool. You might have heard of it. It's grown inside the Rust framework, and I think Andrei will tell you more about it. Another thing it's that we've removed the deprecated flow for building C and C++ contracts from MXPy. we don't offer support for that, for writing C and C++ contracts. There's no framework as there is in Rust. And we don't recommend you to write such contracts. So we've removed this flow from MXPy, but we have a new repository that we use for test contracts, because sometimes we do write test contracts in C. And that repository is open source, but again, we don't recommend you to use it. There are several new features in MXPy 9, such as signing messages from the CLI and verifying them, and so on. And we are for upcoming releases, both minor releases and for V10, we are thinking to quite heavy refactoring within MXPy to rely on the new transaction factories that were implemented in the SDK core of Python in the last couple of weeks. And we are also thinking to extend the takes new command that allows you to create and send a transaction. We want to extend it to be more to support absolutely all kinds of transactions. We still have to design it. We designed this feature, but we are quite eager to have it, and I think you are as well. Now, moving on to the spec side, you might have heard that we are working on some specifications for the network interaction SDKs, and this is a in progress task. It's currently partially done, and what's coming next is that if you are interested, you should go and check out MX SDK specs on GitHub. What we want to do next is to finish the specs for the network providers, and we have to write specs for related transaction factories, and we also have to write some minimal specs for the ABI-based codecs. And I say minimal here because we are thinking of hiding most of the stuff of this aspect, the codec and the coding and decoding. We want to treat it as a very low level logic, and we don't want it to leak too much into the specs. And if you go and check out the specs, and also if you go and check out the new versions of the Python SDK, PyCore, the SDK core, and the upcoming release of the JavaScript one, it's V13, but it's alpha at this moment. If you go and check them out, you would see that they contain the new transaction factories. We hope that you will enjoy them. And as we have those transaction factories, we also have to design some transaction parsers. So if we have a transaction factory for special transactions, for staking or for delegation, we also have to design some parsers for them. We didn't do that yet. Of course, you can parse them manually and so on, but we'd like to add a more higher level component, and that's more friendly for everyone. So some work to do on the specs, and then if we have a look over the implementations of the specs, Python, JavaScript, Go, and so on. For Python, the alignment to the specs is partially done. There has been a lot of effort in the last couple of weeks on this side, and please go and check out the new versions and the updated cookbooks, and let us know how they work for you. And next, of course, finish alignment to the specs. It's partially done, as I've said. For the JavaScript library, we have V12, the current version, and V13, the upcoming one, is alpha. This one is still alpha. In V12, we finally added the event parser. There were a few requests from you, and we've delayed that quite well. We shouldn't have. So we have the ABI-based events parser. There were a few additional adjustments for the upcoming Sirius update, the V1.6 that my colleagues talked about. And in V13, yep, we have the new transaction factories. We have partial alignment to the specs. About the other libraries, SDK Go and SDK C# and so on, they aren't yet. We haven't started yet the alignment to the specs, but in the next months, it's somehow a promise that in the next months they will be receiving updates in that direction. And we have 2 new repositories. I think I'm not covering too much time. We have a new repository, work in progress, MX SDK ABI. Here we are working on aligned implementation of ABI-based codecs. We have the ABI-based codecs in JavaScript there, and we are working on implementation for both, so for all JavaScript, Python, and Go, and they will be aligned within this repository. And this repository will contain the very like self-contained libraries for all the languages, and they will be aligned at the function level. We strive to have them like very, very similar in implementation. Yeah, and I think the last new repository would be MX SDK Playground. Go and check it out. It's a playground for contracts and the apps, and it's written as a dev container. You can open dev containers in Visual Studio Code or in GitHub code spaces. And this playground, this dev container, contains the most commonly used libraries and tools. It contains Rust, MXPy, SCMeta, Rust Analyzer, and so on, and some snippets in Python and JavaScript for now. And I think I will let Andrei to continue and to speak about the Rust SDK, which is the most important one. Thanks.
Andrei, can you hear us?
Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Yeah, okay. And then the music started instead of my microphone. Sorry. Yeah. Right. So a few words about what we've been doing on the Rust side. We just released on Friday the 0.45.1 version of the Rust framework. It's nothing really new on the contract side, but we've integrated the new improvements in the VM, basically the VM 1.5. We've replicated it in the debugger. That's been quite a lot of work at it. The point being for developers to have access to the same functionality they have on a real blockchain, or I mean on the new testnets, to have it in their debuggers so they can also debug their contracts. So you have the promises, so the new asynchronous calls, and you have the back transfers, and a few more minor features, like the new promises callbacks, stuff like that. So that's been the big release last week. Other than minor things, there's been some improvements in the SCMeta build system. No, I don't know how up to date you are, but just a few words. For the last few months, we've been investing a lot in having all the contract build system had in Rust as our tool. It's MultiversX SCMeta, meta for meta programming for contracts, which does all that and produces ABIs and produces builds and whatever. Right. What else did we have recently? We also had the new features integrated in the smart contract framework 2 or 3 weeks ago, like the back transfers. We have a new syntax. So say you are creating a new NFT or SFT in a contract, the attribute field of that SFT or NFT is usually an object that you define in a contract and in the tooling that surrounds that NFT. Now you can also have ABIs for that, which is quite nice. That's been the most important features, I think. And for the next period, we are going to have a few very big features. We're working on integrating native smart contract execution in our Rust tooling, so you will be able to compile your contracts and run them, hopefully also with Gas, without leaving your Rust environment. That's one of the things we're doing. The other is we are working on a unified syntax for Rust for all blockchain transactions that we have. This unified syntax will cover all EID transfers, ego transfers, and all smart contract calls, deploys, and so on from a smart contract. Also, same syntax we will have available in tests, and the same syntax in interactors. We're planning to revamp our interactors soon and release a cool new tool, so more and more people will be able to interact with their contracts from Rust directly. We currently do have support for interactors, but the syntax is not necessarily very clean. It's a bit more than a proof of concept, but it's a bit less than a polished product. So we're working on that. Plus, we are working to integrate the new symbolic execution that we are working on with our partners at Runtime Verification for contracts. So stay tuned for that. That's probably also going to have the same syntax in principle. Those are the big directions we're pushing like in the next month or two. That's probably going to be the main thing. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. I'm pretty sure I left out a lot of smaller tasks and smaller advancements we're making, but these are the big strategic goals we have.
Thank you very much, Andrei. And now going to Konstantin. What are you preparing for the builders?
Let's see. Anyone hear me? I think so. Let's see. I don't seem to be able to share my screen. Yeah, we will have to do without that for now. I think there were two subjects you were asking us about the future plans and what has been launched. I will start with the future plans and then finish up with something really interesting, I think. So I will just cover the big chapters. I don't want to go too much into the details. Hope I will manage to do that. The big chapters, the one of the biggest chapters we are spending a lot of time developing and thinking about in the last couple of weeks is a new provider for the web wallet. The web wallet is using URL params and callback redirects since launch, and this having this in place enabled a lot of us and a lot of the people in the call to build a lot of awesome stuff until now. However, the redirects come with a lot of not so ideal things, and we're trying to we think we might be able to find a way to not use the redirects anymore. We are past the moment of the POC, so we have a proof of concept that works. We have a few things that came up out of that, and we needed to fix, and we're now working on fixing those. But so it's still gonna take a little bit until we have a final version and we release this, and we'll also have to have support for it in SDK before the release. But so there's still a lot of things to be done until then. However, I want to tell everyone that this is really exciting for us, and I think the user experience as well as the developer experience will be much improved once this gets released. the first next step after the release would be for us to adopt this new provider. So there's going to be 2 providers existing alongside each other in SDK dApp, and you as a developer will be able to choose which of the 2 you want to implement in your dApp. So everything is going to be backward compatible. If there are any dApps launched that use the old provider, everything will continue to work as it did until now. So this new provider and new interactions that the wallet provides comes into a bigger pack of updates that we're working on, which sort of a complete wallet revamp. We're looking at a few things and making like a small review of the most important flows, and I think it's gonna be a nice touch for everyone who uses the wallet every day. Staking V4 will also be part of these updates. For the staking V4, we're also there's going to be a small update on the Explorer as well. So that's something that has to be done too. Yeah, and the last thing about the future plans I want to mention here is the Exchange V3. I know this is not a DeFi session, but probably there's people who are curious about that anyways. So there's been great progress has been made on that front too, and for that one I'm actually not so happy for not being able to share my screen. It's really interesting what's coming there. Let's move to what has been launched. Something not too big as impact, but quite difficult for us was to release a new SDK dApp, which offers a new version of SDK dApp, which offers full support for Next.js server-side rendering. I know there were issues here, and I know we weren't the best at replying to those. I think this new version should be much better for Next.js, and we internally use it for Next.js project, and I think this version should serve the purpose of SDK dApp on the server side as well as on the front end for Next.js projects from now on. We had the governance. This required a few things, as you know. Probably, I hope everyone in this call already did vote for the governance, for the protocol upgrade governance call. So we had to take care of that as well. And before finishing, let's see if I'm now able to share my screen. It seems I should be able to share a window. I'll just wait for you guys to confirm that you see it. I think you see it. And I will show you something really exciting. This has been discussed for a long time within the team, but never actually started working on. We now have launched. My colleagues have managed to launch this a few days back. This Code Explorer. So if you go to the Explorer and you click on the Code tab for any contract that is verified, you will now be presented with this really strong and powerful interface. So on one hand, you have information about this contract, but then besides having access to the source code, you also have access to all the view functions this contract exposes. And for this demo, I'm using the DevNet, and this is a deployment of the governance contract, similar to the governance contract running right now on the protocol that I just mentioned. And you can see all the endpoints, all the view functions that this contract exposes, and actually invoke them and see what the result of that query is. So you can do this for all these view functions that are exposed in the contract API. Also, there's access to write stuff into the contract as well, straight out of the Explorer. So now people who prefer using web tools or UIs for interacting with smart contracts have this option. Here you would connect your wallet. within the Explorer. So this is also a precedent that we've created now, because until now there was no reason for anyone to connect their wallet to the Explorer. Now there is the reason, and you can actually log into the Explorer, and actually call endpoints to update or invoke different functions. These features are also available during the development. I assume everyone in the call already knows about utils.multiversex.com. This is a place where many utilities are present for conversions, debugging native auth, signing messages and verifying signatures. And now we have this new tab that enables the same use cases that this one in the Explorer did, but now for contracts that are not yet deployed or not yet verified. So you can you can play with this interface to debug your contract, or during the development process to confirm that the contract works as intended. Both these use cases are implementations of the same NPM package. This is open source as well. We will have to write a better README for this. Sorry about that. But yeah, the package is deployed and available, and everyone who wants can now build this kind of interfaces. Yeah, I think this is pretty much it from me. As my colleagues were saying, if there are questions, we can take them afterwards.
Yeah, actually, I think with you, Konstantin, we are almost done. Yeah, we have 15 minutes for Q&As. So please drop your questions in the chat, and we will try and answer them. As Konstantin already mentioned, in the meantime, the governance form for voting is open. Please take your time and participate in the decision, the software upgrade for the mainnet.
And also make all your friends and validators and everybody out there to vote. It is important for everybody to have a say. It's cheap, and it takes only a few seconds. This is how, especially this kind of environment like blockchain, has to evolve, and we need an active participation of everybody involved there. As you see, we have a other type of governance where even if you are not a staking provider, you can vote. Even if you are not a whale, your vote counts as all the votes are squared. So not squared, but under a radical. So not actually it equalizes. So I try to sell governance and for everybody to participate in, and I will do that in every call, because this is our first one, but we as the community have to show that, okay, everybody is interested in that. And again, every developer out there, if you have ideas or if you want to add something on the actual mix on the Agora forum, please do that. We can continue discussing there or here or anywhere else. Let's build those. I think there is one question from Lucid. When opens up an inline contract, we have a set of contracts which are audited. They are in the MX SDK RS, and there is another repo which is called MX Contract RS. I will share the links, and those are like open Zeppelin inline contracts. Those are in general reviewed. All right, Mihai is sending already. Those are reviewed by the WASM team, Some of those is audited, and you can find other contracts as well on the GitHub repo. For example, lending contracts, liquid staking contracts, NFT marketplaces, some payments, or even gaming smart contracts for having wages over games, stuff like that. If you have requests about contracts, you can put it on Agora or as an issue on MX Contracts RS, and then we can take a look at what is important for the community to be built.
And we have a thought from Drew. He said that one vote for all the features does not give the ability to speak specific features, ones that he might find questionable. So we had 9 weeks, the post on Agora describing every feature in detail. We would have appreciated more activity on that aspect, but you are right. And because of that, next releases are going to have one, maximum 2 or 3 features. So it will be easier for everybody involved in the voting activity to better understand what they are voting for. Anyway, after having 5 or 6 meetups, we are also going to post the ambassadors program and also have the ambassadors landing page made public. What we know for sure is that in January we are going to have a meetup in Germany. More details are going to be provided in short time. So you don't have to worry much. We are going to travel to all the important Germany, yes, all important countries around the world. All countries are important. This is a response to Levy. Of course, Nigeria is important. We have seen quite a big number of participants at the hackathon, and we appreciate a lot. We have seen a lot of nice initiatives in Nigeria, initiatives related to developers. So definitely, it is an important country. Yes. It's in Germany. And then we will announce the city in short. There's a question coming from Lucid. There's an initiative to have front-end libraries open source as well. I think Konstantin can have a short notice on that.
Of course, thank you. I'm wondering which libraries is the question about, because most of libraries we have and work on are open source already. Check out our GitHub.
And so we're going to keep the session open for 2 more minutes, and afterwards I think we can close it. And so we have one more question coming from Levi. Can we talk about grants for projects? I don't know if it is right to discuss it in this session. We are going to announce the micro grant and a program for awarding grants the next year, starting with the first quarter. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, we are very interested on your opinion about the X-Day, so any feedback is very well appreciated. Our whole scope is to have better X-Day for 2024, better than 2023 and better than 2022. Yeah, so I think the 3 minutes passed. Of course, you can continue asking questions in the chat. We will definitely come back and answer them. Thank you very much for your participation today. We appreciate the fact that you are joining and you're active in the community. Stay tuned for the next session. As I already said, it's going to be to happen at the end of January. Tomorrow, we will have the validator session where we are going to discuss about taking phase 4, a very debated subject. Taking phase 4, as you already know, is going to come with the Vega release, the 1.7 version release. Afterwards, on Wednesday, we're going to have the DeFi session, where some of the DeFi builders are invited to share their opinions on the future and the success of the DeFi in the MultiversX ecosystem. And for Thursday, we're going to host the NFT session, where we are going to introduce also the gaming vertical that we are building intensively. Thank you very much for your participation, and have a nice evening or morning, or have a nice day and a very pleasant week. Yeah. Keep building.